on vengeance.
Welcome back, everybody. This is Mark 123 of the Super Civil Servants podcast. My name is Greg, the Bat Daddy 52, and man, this week's episode of Mando was awesome. Really, really awesome. Really enjoyed it. Can't wait to talk about it with y'all. But I'm here with the usuals. Sarah, what's going on?
Oh, it's been a long week. It's been a super long week, but it's over and done with. I got a lot accomplished, so I'm really excited about that. Enjoyed the little warm weather we had, which is not going to stay with us so much longer. But other than that, I'm here to hang with you fellas. Yay.
I just thought about it. The three of us represent three different parts of the same state. That's so crazy. Like West, Middle East. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm. That just now occurred to you?
It did. I just never thought about it before. Yeah, so.
It's only been the last 2 years that I've been here in the middle part, so that makes
makes a difference.
Yeah.
Ross, so this is up, buddy.
Same thing, man. Long week. I'm ready to let's talk about the best parts of the week.
Yes.
Best parts being what Greg's calling the Mandalorian show, which look rightfully so in some regards, but still, it's fantastic.
Hey, I pick and I kid calling it the Mandalorian because that's basically what it's been the last 2 weeks, but I'm thoroughly enjoying it. It is absolutely fantastic. I'm not going to get too hard to it right now. We're going to say that for a little later, but it's still really, really good. I mean, I'm not by any means upset with what I've gotten so far. It's just a little thing I like to pick on. But
I've heard two fantastic things. One of them, I mean, no, I can't take credit for either one of them, but one of them was they're calling it the Mandalorian Television Universe, the MTU. And they said if you could rename the book of Boba Fett, what would you call it? And someone put up Tales from Tatooine. And I was like, all these things would work.
Yeah, I can see that. See, now we're breaking into it. We'll talk about it.
I'll stop.
Let's go.
It's so hard not to, though. It's one of those holes. It's hard to pull yourself out of one of those holes, especially with Star Wars. Star Wars holes are tough. But well, let's get. You got any news or anything you want to talk about, Ross? I know you said you had a few things you saw that were interesting. Toss them out.
A little bit. I'll start off with like the Amazon stuff. I mean, first off, I don't know if you know this, but the prices are going to skyrocket for Amazon Prime. So whatever you want to watch on there, you better start watching now if you're one of those people that could back off of it.
Oh, I'm not going to lie. I don't buy Prime for the viewing. I buy it for the free shipping.
I saw it going up today that some people were going to be going up to $139 and other people were going to be going up to $180. So yearly cost of $180, which look, same deal. I think Prime should be completely different. It's fantastic that they throw it in, but when you start raising your prices up, someone's going to boycott. Someone's going to say something along the lines of, why are we still paying for this when we don't use half of the things that they provide?
See, I like to give them a lot more money than they deserve, so I pay them monthly. So mine only goes up like $1. I'm like, oh, it only goes up $1. It's not a big deal,
Well, I definitely get that on 2-day Prime. Sure. That definitely does not go to waste.
Oh no,
yeah.
No, not at all.
That's the bonus of it for me. So you're kind of getting a little more than just the viewing on it, which I'm not gonna lie. There's not a ton of stuff that I watch on Prime, but to be fair, I don't really give it a great chance. There's a lot of stuff on a lot of other programs.
There is good stuff on there.
Yeah, I'm sure there is. I know what's the show you were? Was it Jack Reacher?
Reacher.
Reacher.
Dude,
yes.
Almost made it through like the third episode, and it's really good.
Okay. I didn't get a chance to watch any of it, but I'm gonna definitely try to get onto that so I can talk with you about it on here. Because if you say it's good, I trust your judgment.
Do you remember watching the movies? The Tom Cruise? I don't know if it was movies. I know there's at least one.
I think it was.
Yeah.
A lot left to be enjoyed, and I'm telling you right now, our boy Hawk is in there, and he is making Jack Reacher look awesome. Okay. For the ladies or the men out there, I mean, he's got his shirt off all the time. So I don't know if y'all are into that.
I'm still waiting for Jack Ryan for another season. Jack Ryan.
Oh, I know.
With what's his name?
Krasinski.
Krasinski.
Yeah. That's a good show. But like I'm saying, they have some really good shows. I mean, boys, you still haven't watched Invincible. You gotta watch Invincible.
I've watched Invincible.
Oh, you finally watched it?
Yeah, I covered it on here. Oh yeah, Invincible.
Oh, okay. Because
oh my
for the longest time, I texted you forever, and I kept on sending you all like the Subway memes and like everything else, and like you were like, I still haven't watched the show.
Really? I covered that like as soon as it came out on here. Pretty sure.
I didn't think you did. I thought you were behind on
it. Yeah. I know, man. I loved it. Invincible. It was great. Maybe want to go out and buy the compendium, but never did, because at that point in time, especially whenever it was out on Prime, it was just impossible to find it anywhere. Everybody was buying it, so I'm sure I can find it now if I want to.
We can go down that rabbit hole. I'll tell you, they got a lot of great content. I love The Expanse. They have all the seasons of Vikings. They pick up all sorts of stuff. So at the end of the day, they just keep on bringing stuff. The catalog is a lot bigger than you think. Number one, because it's a real hard app to kind of like want to navigate in. By the time you start opening it up, they keep playing off like the Netflix role, but just doesn't work out very well. But moving on to someone else.
I said maybe I'll just give Prime a better chance. Maybe I'll get on Prime, for the next week and try to watch that solid.
They're doing Twilight right now, so I'm like,
That's not my girl.
Can we back away from that? You're about to get Batman. Okay, focus on that.
We're going to talk about that too. That's the Pattinson that I want to see. Exactly. What else, man?
I sent you guys the video for the Netflix, the release. They're about to drop all sorts of stuff. They said it's going to be a new movie every week, I believe is what the trailer said. And so it's going to be a new movie or new television series coming out. So they're about to really ramp up. I guess their next wave of pandemic recording is about to fill our whole entire 2022, because they have all the stars. If you pay attention to all the people that were in that trailer, or basically it's just a teaser of all the stuff they have coming out.
Yeah.
And I mean, they have everybody. They got Momoa with horns. I mean, I don't know what to expect.
Well, I'm kind of in for a surprise with a lot of things, because I'm just not as into looking up stuff anymore. And I'm kind of liking being surprised by all things. I mean, of course, of course, there's stuff that I find out about and I look into, like the Batman movie. I've looked into stuff like that, but I don't dive really deep into stuff anymore.
It's dangerous.
It's quasi general audience, So, the trailer had a lot of stuff in it. I mean, Netflix always delivers, right? It's why it's always going to be on everybody's list of stuff they have. Nobody's ever going to get rid of Netflix. I don't know anybody who doesn't have Netflix or access to Netflix. Other streaming services, yeah. I don't know anybody who doesn't have access to Netflix.
It's the OG, man. It's the OG.
So,
their hands, they got big hands, and they're reaching all over the place.
Very, very much so. Anything else?
Paramount, didn't you say that? Did you watch the SEAL Team show? Was that you?
No.
Okay, well, they just got a bunch of other shows coming out. I mean, I didn't read previously, but I guess they're reviving Criminal Minds and bringing a Grease prequel out. I'd heard about it, but I just never paid attention to it. It was just, the Rise of the Pink Ladies or something like that.
Yeah, my wife saw that, and she loves Grease, so I'm sure that I'm going to be viewing that. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. I mean, even if I'm like half paying attention to it, like Outlander and what's that Revenge show. Like, I hate that I can remember stuff from those shows, because it's like, I don't want to pay attention to the show. But I mean,
I said no.
But compromise.
So Spider-Man got reported it's going to be going to Stars first for those people who never made it to theater. So that's supposed to be happening in the next couple of weeks or something, or months. Timeline maybe messed up. Beyond that, Eternals wrapped up their theatrical run. It's the second lowest domestic MCU film. Right behind it is the Hulk. So
still bringing up.
It's not helping our case out anymore for people to watch it, but watch it. And then I guess it's turned into a little bit more than rumors that Natalie Portman's going to be possibly getting her own Thor movie as Jane Foster. So
that was, of course, I heard a lot of stuff about that as soon as the Love and Thunder thing came out. That was going to be the speculation. So is it getting, I guess, confirmed.
It's getting a lot more traction, and a lot of people are coming out and saying it's a lot more than could happen. But everyone's being quizzical about it. So
we'll see. I mean, I think the Eternals thing, man, like you said, I wouldn't tell anybody not to watch it. I think it's a victim of the time that it came out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The reason for the numbers, to be honest with you.
Well, the worldwide box office, they were 4th from last. And I believe it was Hulk, Captain America, the First Avenger, Black Widow, and then Eternals for the bottom.
Really? Captain America First Avenger was down there.
Well, you got to understand worldwide box office.
I guess
Captain America is probably going to be a fantastic name for people.
I get that. Touche. All right. Any other news?
That's really it. Prodigy wrapped up. Well, I know I'm probably the only one that's watching it, but I'm just throwing stuff on in the background. So
that's not a hard show to catch up. That's not a hard show to catch up on, though. It's like 22-minute episodes, right?
Yeah, short.
I did watch the Kobayashi Maru one, so that was kind of. I was like,
like I said, it's getting a little bit better.
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing. A lot of people are saying. I was like, the last ones are a lot. It's
more Star Trek-y.
Well, I've seen a lot. More folks that are. I guess I don't want to say a little more hardcore Trek, but I mean, it takes they still have open minds, but it's still, because it has like a Y7 rating or something along those lines. Mm-hmm. So I saw a buddy of mine that made a comment. It's like I don't know if I'd rate it with that, because there is some some deeper content in here, as far as I guess these last ones or whatnot, because I mean some of that stuff, it does hit a little harder for like maybe a little bit older kids or something along that line. But I don't know, I think it's still cute.
It follows a lot of the Star Wars tropes that I have been talking about recently. Like now that we have live action shows and they're bringing all this animated show stuff to life.
Mm-hmm.
If you are in that universe as a fan, then you really enjoy all that stuff that they're bringing. And so with Star Trek, they're just now starting to get traction. Like if all these shows are coming out next week, we get Discovery back finally. If they can bring all these things together and really tie something loosely knitted together, even if they have all these stories in different universes, because with Kelvin timeline, and then now we're going back to Strange New Worlds.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be interested to see what they do.
You know what it is for me with Star Trek is I really, really like the stuff I've seen. And the most of the stuff I've seen is new stuff, like the Kelvin timeline stuff. I've seen Prodigy, that's totally new, right? This is a new story. It's not based off anything or built off anything else. And then of course Lower Decks, which is a fun show. I don't know how much I would trust that for learning about Star Trek, but I love the new stuff, and I want to learn more about the new stuff, and as it goes forward and follow that story, I just don't want to have take the time to go back to the old stuff. It's not that I don't think I'll like it or that it's bad. I have so much other stuff to do. I just exactly.
There's a lot.
There's a lot. So it feels like for me that the Kelvin timeline and it's like a good starting point for me if I don't want to go back and look at all that stuff, but I can still enjoy what's going on. And I kind of got an idea of some stuff. And I've seen some of the other movies. What was Wrath of Khan? I went back and watched Wrath of Khan before we did the second Kelvin timeline movie, which is great. But yeah. But that's my thing is I just, it's not that I don't want to, because I don't think I'll like them, or I think they're gonna be bad movies. I just have so much stuff I can't take the time to go back and watch.
But that's kind of the cool thing about the Kelvin timeline movies, is because even if you haven't seen the previous, you can't. That is a good starting point, because it's taking the characters that you are familiar with. Now there's a little different take on them, but for the most part, it's still the same character. So I mean,
they're just twisting the stories.
Right?
Yeah,
exactly. It's almost like a prequel to before, but just with a different outcome, which is cool.
But it's also opening up, like you said, it's almost like you're starting with the original series again, and you can shoot off into something new. There's a ton of other stuff you can do. I mean, you could probably, come up with another, next generation after that, next generation-esque type thing, but you can have different stories, you can come have different characters. I mean, it's just, or you could have the same ones. You could have that and just come with a different time with the Kelvin timeline. Mm-hmm. So I mean, I don't know if it's ever going to go that far, but I mean, there's a lot of the, you kind of open little doors that you've opened up. So,
yeah. Well, if you watch Discovery, they tiptoe around all of these different things because it's the same thing. Like Star Trek for many years has been normally run off the same type of I guess show format like a bunch of other shows did, and like they stayed within their universe and they talked about linear. Other things, right? And so like Next Generation was its thing, and like Deep Space Nine helped with it. But like now that everyone's building their universes, Star Trek's getting into it also, and they're doing a decent job of keeping everything within arm's reach from each other, rather than making every last little thing make sense or need to make sense.
And that's what's so cool about the trilogy that just came out with the Coda trilogy. I'm only halfway through the second book, but wow, it's kind of taking that timeline thing and really blowing it up. I'll just leave it like that. But it's really, really cool.
We're supposed to get. Oh, go ahead.
I had 5 book credits on Audible the other day about books, and I almost bought those, but I ended up buying 5 Star Wars books.
That one might kind of baby steps into those.
We are supposed to be getting some sort of con treatment in Strange New Worlds, so once again, they're going to keep playing on that, just like I guess like a bunch of other universes that we talk about, where they keep going back to the well. I don't know how many times they're going to do it. And I don't know what kind of fashion they're going to do it in, but I do know that they're supposed to be bringing con in some aspect. I don't know if they're going to continue telling the story from the original series, or if they're just going to take what we know about it and just talk about it. So it'll be interesting to see. Strange New Worlds was something that I like really wasn't super hyped for, but I am interested in watching now that it's getting closer to coming out.
Well, I'm interested in his characters, especially with that iteration of Spock. So I think that's going to be kind of cool, to see, because that was the one I kind of missed him. So I'm just like, I just want to see where he goes. So and then
is that the same Spock from Discovery, right? Okay. Because when I watched all those so fast, that little bit, I realized was that time jump between the current season that we're in and like when I was binging all of it real fast. So yeah, it's gonna be super interesting.
Yeah, I think there. Even though you got kind of like a preview of those characters, I think it'll be interesting to see them fleshed out even further with their own stories. I think that's gonna be kind of cool.
Yep. Too bad it's on Paramount Plus. I'm gonna hate on them until I die. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Until they get their shit together.
Beggars can't be choosers, damn it.
Very true. Very true.
Can't be when I pay for it.
Fair point. Not a beggar if you're paying for it. I agree.
That's right.
Let's see what else we got this week. Oh, hey, y'all watch anything interesting this week? Started watching new shows? Finish anything up? What we've been watching? Anybody? I've got something cool.
Go for it.
Not older show, 2010, 11-ish TNT show, Last Ship. Y'all remember that one?
Yeah.
Pandemic show.
I just binged it.
Man, yeah, we're binging it right now. We watched it back then. We're binging it back now. Man, edge of your seat show. What a great show. I'd forgotten how good this one was. I think we're about to start season 3. We've been binging pretty much that for the last few days. If you hadn't seen it, really, really good show.
There was another one that was just like it, and I only think they had 1 or 2 seasons. I'll have to find the name of it. I'll send it to you after the show. But always stuck with me more than Last Ship. It took me forever to get on to Last Ship. So,
well, that came out around the time that Falling Skies was coming out. So, like at that time, Falling Skies and Last Ship were like the shows I watched because I loved Falling Skies. I thought that was an awesome show. I think I bought the first 2 seasons on DVD, which is weird. But really, really enjoyed that show. Didn't get the respect it deserved. I think it got cut short. I mean, it went 5 seasons, I believe, but it could have gone a lot further. You can tell they kind of cut the story short, or something happened where they had to end it really quickly. But anyway, still pretty good. What about y'all? Watching anything good? I mean, well, go ahead. I got more, but
Go ahead, Greg. You sound excited. Go ahead.
I've had a busy week. I have not watched a whole lot. I've watched the fantastic stuff, but beyond that, no, I have not.
Okay. Got 2 episodes of Ozark left.
Oh, darn. I want to watch that next week.
You haven't watched any of season 4?
No.
Oh, man.
I know.
Okay.
I know.
I want to talk about it. It's good. It's really, really good. Sarah, are you Ozark?
I had plans to watch it. Things came up that I wasn't expecting, and then
I get that.
Just couldn't get to it.
No, I haven't got that one yet.
It's a show that once you start watching it, man, you are locked in. Like you are paying attention to it. So you got to kind of be able to set some time aside and focus on it for sure. But yeah, if you haven't checked that out yet, Sarah, that's season 4. It's wrapping up. It's not that long, 4 seasons now. But man, if you like Jason Bateman,
oh yeah,
you'll like it a lot. Yep, you'll like it a lot. He does.
I'm just waiting for season 5 of Cobra Kai.
Season 5 of Cobra Kai is going. Didn't we say last week that they had been confirmed at least for like 2 more seasons or something like that?
I know the 5th one, and I think the 6th one they're talking about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
they haven't reached their deadline yet if they have to make it or break it. But they were, what did I say last week? They were filming, or they had already been filming or something like that? I'm
so missing that show. I'm thinking, I can't believe how much I loved it. And now my mother-in-law's watching it, and she's like texting my husband like, oh my God. I think she's finally at the end of season 2. We're like, oh, you just wait. You just wait.
It gets better. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cobra Kai is a good one. I'm trying to think. I mean, other than the shows we're covering, there's not a whole lot else that I'm watching right now.
Yeah.
Of course, it's a compromise of the television, so I don't always get to see what's going on. And during the weekends right now, there's sports. So
I'm going to tell you what I'm waiting for, though. I'm waiting to see what we're going to get for the Super Bowl because I want to see them trailers. I want to see them come out.
You think anything big's going to drop?
I have it on good authority that the next show that we're going to get for Star Wars is going to be The Mandalorian. I've heard that for like almost 6 months that it was supposed to be coming out in March.
Okay.
Following that should be Obi-Wan.
That's what I wanted.
So what I'm thinking is that we may get a teaser for Obi-Wan, and then probably what it was Nathan that was talking that chances are we could see it, like an end trailer at the end of Boba Fett. Mm-hmm. I believe that's going to be for The Mandalorian, and they're just going to roll you right into that from season 2.5 Mandalorian to season 3.
Season 3, yeah.
But I feel like we'll get something. There has to be like some sort of teaser. It's got to be a good time for it. And it's a Super Bowl, I mean, if you're going to pull anything out for the Super Bowl, none of their other shows are going to hold the weight like Obi-Wan will. So,
right. Yeah,
I want to see it.
Absolutely right. Well, talking about trailers, actually, I'm trying to think. There was a trailer I saw the other day. It's some kind of moon show. I can't remember what the name of it is. Moon something. Moon.
Show?
Yeah.
There's a movie coming. Or is it a movie coming out? The Halle Berry movie, or?
To be honest with you, I can't really tell you a whole lot about it other than it looked kind of fantastical, and I was like, well, I might be able to watch this. So, Moon.
There's a Moonfall. That's a movie that's in theaters right now.
That's the one I was thinking of.
Is that it? That might be the one I'm thinking of too. Do you know anything about
that?
Got
well, you haven't watched Game of Thrones, so I can't tell you who that character is. Oh, gosh.
Watched a little bit of Game of Thrones. Watched the first episode.
It's got Patrick Wilson. He was the guy that was, oh gosh, what's his face in Aquaman? His half brother.
Orm?
Don't ask me that one.
Yes. Yeah. I think it was Orm. Orm, whatever.
Okay.
Yeah. So he's in it.
And got the guy who plays Tully in Game of Thrones, and I don't remember his name. So
look how we don't remember anybody's names. We're just talking about the.
I can't do this anymore.
That's I can't remember who was it the other day. I was talking about somebody, and I could not remember their real name for the life of me, but I could remember like 3 character names they played, and I was like, how do I remember the character names they played, but I can't remember the actual name of the person.
Yep.
It's crazy how the mind works like that. Or my mind works.
I mean,
like that.
It's right there with Mandalorian And like, I keep seeing like all the memes, like, oh, he's wearing a mask now so he doesn't get his eyes gouged out, because when he played, what's his name, Oberyn or whatever his name was, the Red Viper in Game of Thrones, that's what happened to him. Which I hate to rob you of that, but I don't know if you're ever going to get around to watching Game of Thrones. Okay. So
I'll probably forget it by then anyway. So, or I'll be looking for it for like the entire show to the one point where it comes. I'm like, oh, okay, there it is. It's like, no, it you can't scratch.
Now I see, and he can't see.
Yeah, I don't really know of a whole lot of stuff other than that. I mean, I'm excited for an Obi-Wan trailer if we get it. Although, a trailer that we should talk about that I'm not getting sick of seeing, but I don't want to see any more of this movie, and none of these trailers are making me want this movie anymore. Like, I already want this movie to the maximum point of I'm going to see this movie. It's the Batman. Obviously, the Batman. I'm going to go see it, whether it looks like something I'm not going to like or something I'm going to like. This looks like something that I'm going to enjoy. I had a different opinion on it when it first came out. I didn't say I wasn't going to enjoy it. I just had questions about certain things. But now I feel like I'm going to really enjoy this movie. I don't need to see any more on it. And it seems like every time I turn the TV on, or like every time I'm on a streaming service, there's like a little clip that's different than the one I saw before. I've seen like 4 or 5 different TV clips. And I'm like, I don't want to see any more of this movie. And none of them are telling me anything. It's just showing me more stuff. And it's like, no.
Let's get closer.
Fast forward to these ads. I know it's getting closer, and it's not getting moved. I haven't heard anything about dates getting moved, which was a big question. So
yeah, it's going to be interesting. Well, everyone was waiting to see what the wonderful Transformer Omicron was going to do. And I mean, with numbers going down, I don't think anyone's planning on moving anything else for the time being. So, because that's what, the 4th? That's like a month. Well, it's a month away.
Yeah, it's like only
exactly a month away. Actually, a little bit shorter, because February is a little bit shorter in it. Just a little bit shorter.
Well, it's exactly 4 weeks. Thank God, like the 1 month that's 4 weeks long.
Yeah, it's like the 4th Friday from now. Literally, it's like literally 4 weeks away. That's insane.
May have to postpone to a Saturday show that week, because I may go see that. I'll probably
go see it Thursday night.
Opening night. Oh yeah, you're right. I'll go see it Thursday night. What am I talking about? Yeah. Wait, I gotta see.
Ryan, we're going to fight each other so he sees it first, because the boy, he's like, I want to see it. We're like, no, we're gonna watch it before we even think about letting you watch it, because it's gonna be a little more intense from what it looks like than what you're used to. So,
oh yeah,
pump the brakes on that one, buddy.
You think they're going that far with it, huh? Like, not take your kid to see it?
Well, you never know with stuff like that.
I mean, it's a lot of ones like that. I mean, I would rather screen it before he does.
I get that, which is fair. I don't think my kids are interested at all in seeing this one. I mean, I think I've kind of Batmaned them out. Like,
well, we give that away, Bat Daddy.
Yeah, they see Batman now and they're like, Batman, which sucks. I kind of ruined it for them, but it's cool. They have their own thing. They're really, really big into anime, and I try to get in that stuff with them. So, I mean, it's cool. It's your thing. But trailers. Sarah, talk to me about this Halo trailer.
Well, there's one person in my house that is like super stoked about that, and actually, he's the one. He's like, hold on, he'll like grab his phone. Have you seen this? Hold on, let's watch. I'm like, okay, tell me about it. Well, because he's been playing Halo ever since I can remember. So this trailer, it was. I only know what I've seen, so there's a lot of elements in it that I'm not familiar with. But there's certain things like I think Cortana was one of them. I think he was kind of like on the fence about that, but it was. I'm interested to see, like, with Master Chief, like the background on Master Chief. I really don't know his background. I just know it's Master Chief. He's badass. That's all I know. But it's just interesting to kind of, especially with the, what is the hive? No, what are those things called? The one, what they're fighting against. Is it the hive? What are they called?
I have no idea.
Well, like I said, I mean, there's certain elements in there, and I just want to see a needler. I want to see somebody go crazy with the damn needler, because that's the only thing that really. But yeah, Brian could break this down like so many ways. And
we'll call him in here.
Oh, I've tried.
Yeah,
I have tried. But I mean, it's just, there's certain aspects of here, like with a game. So I'll be interested to watch it with him to see how much of it is, like the actual game play, that kind of thing. So it looks like it's really interesting the way they're kind of fleshing out. See, there's a needler, and then you have the warthogs, and then you have, I think, the grunts and all this other kind of stuff. So that's going to be really interesting to see. And of course, seeing the Halo itself, I think that was one thing I don't think they really did a whole lot with. But it's just I want to see how this translates from like the game that you know of to, real characters. I mean, that's the only way I can kind of
to a story.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I know there's a story there, but I'm just kind of curious to see where they go with it.
So from what I know Halo mostly from people talking about it, and from what I have heard about this is that actually they have come out and said that they have taken liberties for the show in order to, give you a better story, which I'm fine with, because I don't think Halo has ever had a deep enough story. It's always been about, it's been an FPS the whole time, or whatever category they're putting it in, but like now they're adding more to it. The thing that I'm really interested in is to see how well they do all of the shots, like with everyone in suits, because I've also heard this, from a few different sources, that they were talking about how everyone was kind of waiting to see what, like, Mandalorian style stuff, people in suits, shows with people in suits all the time, how well that would translate and what that would mean for an audience, how well they would take it. Clearly, The Mandalorian blew all expectations out of the water. So now what I'm interested in is how are their suits going to look? How is the acting in their suits going to look? Because what I love about the stuff that we've been getting is how much people have been acting in helmets, been acting with their eyes only if they're aliens, because they have done such a fantastic job. But that's up to also the studio, and whether or not they, give creative direction to directors or whoever else, to the actors themselves. I'm hoping that Halo does not fall flat on any of that. I'm not thinking that it's going to. I just also hope that it doesn't disappoint true diehard fans, because they take those liberties to give you a better story.
Right.
I'm interested in what I'm seeing.
There's certain elements they have to keep. I feel like there's certain elements, certain characters that I feel like they'll have to keep in order to.
Yeah, there's mainstays. You can't circumvent that stuff.
No.
So
I'm kind of right there with both of y'all with this. And I know absolutely nothing about Halo. Here's the thing: is when it comes to games like Halo and Call of Duty and all that stuff, I've never ever played the campaign game mode. Only ever played multiplayer. It's the only reason I get on those games. The only reason I've ever bought those games or played those games is to play multiplayer. I don't care about the. Now, I'm the kind of guy who does like looking through cutscenes of games when they're put together and kind of watching a movie. It's just Halo's never been my thing to do that with. Now, going into this, that's kind of my benefit, because nothing can be ruined for me. I know what Halo looks like. I know Master Chief, and Sarah, like you said, I know a Needler. Beyond that, I don't know a whole lot about Halo, so I'm going into something that I'm looking at. I'm saying this looks pretty good, because quite honestly, I think that Halo outfit, that the suit, is one of the coolest suits ever, just from the video game, and it looks to me, from what I've seen here, absolutely fantastic.
Well, so that's going to be interesting, because that's how Brian plays. He plays the campaigns, so it's going to be very interesting.
Storyline in there, right?
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see his reaction. So that's pretty much what I'm going to play off of.
Right. And it was, excuse me, like I was saying, that's kind of the benefit for me there, is I don't have anything to expect going into it. I can just look at some cool action and hope that they give me a good story. It's kind of the way it was with Arcane. Didn't know anything about the game.
You don't have an opportunity to be on the toxic fandom side. Right. I mean, like, we go into all the Star Wars stuff because we know all of it. And everyone, just like all jokes aside, I'm just saying the fact that you call it Mando is funny, because that's what, like, everyone has been doing. But if we didn't know any of these characters, what difference would it truly make? And like going into Halo and stuff like this, like going into Arcane completely blind, like I've said countless times, like, was a shot in the dark that was fantastic. Halo can do the same thing. They may piss off people depending on the story. I hope that they don't. But I don't know the story, so they're not going to piss me off.
Yeah, gonna be.
So we can all agree everyone knows who Master Chief is. So I think everybody pretty much has an idea of who and what Master Chief is.
I've seen a good share of like Red vs. Blue and like all that. So
yeah, exactly. So I think that's probably the common denominator there. So whatever they do after that, I think it's just a free for all.
Do they all have the same outfit? Are they like stormtroopers? Will you be able to tell who Master Chief is in a lineup in the suits?
They have variances, but I don't know what they are. I do know that they do have variances, or at least like designations. So
it's kind of like the Mandalorian armor, where everyone kind of has.
I don't know if it's that stark drastic, but yeah.
Okay. Cool. All right. Well, I mean, it'll be interesting. Like I said, what's the date it comes out? It's 2022. Do we have a
March
actual date?
30th, I think.
Oh, so it's gonna be soon.
Yeah.
Okay. Huh?
Got it up there somewhere.
I know it'll be watched in my house, so
that'll
be one that'll probably he'll keep up with.
March 24th.
March 24th, and then Moon Knight on the 30th.
Worried about content. Never ever worried about content anymore. I don't think I'll ever say that anymore. Is there going to be anything to cover? Yes, there's always something.
We'll figure something out.
Always something to cover. And if there's not, guess what? There's previous content to cover.
Yeah,
the card's still going to be running. And I mean, that's just stuff that I still have on here. I haven't even updated this thing in a while.
Yeah. Well, you know what? We've that's about all I had before we started talking about the shows. I know that everybody's super excited to talk about this episode of the Book of Boba Fett, called by its proper name, because I know that Wednesday morning I got a message from you, Ross. Don't let anybody spoil it for you. Don't talk about it with anybody. And I was like, okay, something big's happening. I know that I remember Katie talking about staying up late to watch it, like to possibly watch it. And I was like, something big must be with this episode. Like, I don't know, because I haven't looked into that. Something big must be. And then Sarah, you chimed in later with a definitely don't don't let anybody spoil it. So I got to watch it that night when my wife went to sleep, and I couldn't message y'all because it was too late. But man, they went all out.
Well, I think it was because like the previous episode was so awesome. So it's like, okay, what do they have next? And then plus, this is what, the penultimate.
But can it get cooler? Is the question. Like, did they do it too cool in one episode? Not that I'm complaining. Like I said, I enjoyed it, but did they?
And Filoni directed this one, didn't he?
That's the thing right there. As soon as you saw the director list, and you knew that. Look, Ahsoka took me to the side. Like, I figured he was going to bring Cad Bane in somehow, but I didn't think we were going to get like such on the face. But I'm going to tell you right now, like Ahsoka. Like, he carries Ahsoka in his pocket everywhere that he goes, or probably underneath his hat everywhere that he goes. And I was not expecting it. I mean, I'm going to try to take this thing from the top and work through it.
Yes.
But I'm going to tell you, all of the things that came out in this episode, yes, how do they make the next one better? I'm pretty sure they're going to somehow bring Boba Fett back into it. But at the same time, I think that what we're going to get is going to directly tie us into the Mandalorian. I mean, it's too easy for them not to just add 7 more episodes and call it something else to bring us back into Mandalorian and just give us a whole nother, assuming 8 to 10 episodes.
What if they give you a whole episode of Boba Fett in the season of Mandalorian? Boom.
I'm not hurt.
Mind blown. Yeah. Why don't they just call it Star Wars?
Yeah.
You know? Just call it Star Wars.
That's why I told you. That's why I was a fan of those other titles. Like, when someone said "Tales from Tatooine," I'm like, "Fucking Christ!"
It's perfect. Well, let me say this. Let me say this before we get into it, because that morning, I think it was like what was it? Wednesday? Wednesday? It might have been Thursday. I don't know. I can't remember which one it was. It was Thursday, because I had to head out. And so I walked downstairs, and Brian's like, "We're going to watch this. We're going to watch this." I said, "Well, y'all go ahead," because I know at some point that afternoon I was going to watch it. So I was upstairs getting ready or whatever. I came down, and I came in on one part, and I saw one character. I was like, "What?" And then 5 seconds later, I saw another character. I'm like, "The fuck is going on right here?"
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, all right, I need to stop, because I need to watch the whole thing and see from start to finish. So yeah, that was my reaction.
Well, The best part about this is it did the one thing for Boba Fett that I was hoping for in the last few episodes. Is now it's giving this story a purpose. It's walking right into a big plot line they're driving with all these characters, which is cool because I'm hoping all this stuff ties in together, which I'm sure it will. I mean, it already is. So I'm happy with Boba Fett now. I just would like to see a little more Boba Fett in the book of Boba Fett, but I think we're going to because next week is the finale, correct?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Next week
it's all intertwined. It's all connected. It's all connected.
It's like a circle.
Well, if the penultimate was as exciting as this, then I can only imagine what they're going to do in the finale. So let's go ahead and break down the.
I was going to say, talk about it. Just talk about it.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Let's talk about
characters.
Spoilers everywhere.
We already talked about Ahsoka. We already talked about Ahsoka. Okay, so
well, right off the bat, we got Cobb Vanth.
Yes.
And so right at the beginning, when you get Cobb Vanth and super skinny, which I thought they killed a dragon when they had plenty to eat, but I guess they didn't. With him and the Pikes and him just being like, you know what? I mean, because he was real cool about it. Like, I don't want your money. And you know what? You might as well just go ahead and leave your drugs. And they're making a big deal about, like, you know, how it's more than your whole town. He's like, I don't give a shit. You don't want to die. And then he kills, you know, all but one of them. And then the best part was that he just knocked the Spice over.
What's kind of a boss move?
Yeah, because you're like, you know what? It's tons of money, but at the same time, like, stop bringing this crap around. Downside is that they have trains of this stuff. So it's kind of like, you know, it's pissing in the wind. Kind of, he's not going to get anything done at this point just by pushing one little case of it over.
Well, then it's funny. It makes me wonder how much, if that little case is worth more than their town, how much that stuff's worth.
Yeah,
if it trains of it, you know.
Well, so I've always been under the impression that even way back when, spice was a thing, that it was not only like a drug, but like it was medicine. Mm-hmm. And so like it had its medicinal purposes, just like anything else that we've, you know, cocaine, all that mess that we've had, you know. Mm-hmm. So they've taken something, you know, that could probably fix headaches, and then, you know, can probably also make you lose like your parts of your body if you use it too much, to ruin your life. I find it interesting that they are making that such a big part of this show, because it's been something that's been talked about in all of Star Wars, but it's never been a gigantic thing. And I think it's really cool that they're using like the whole drug cartel, spice cartel thing. And especially because he's not on the wrong side of the law, but later on in the episode, it's mentioned that Mos Espa, you're not allowed to get away with everything because they have like the crime lords or whoever's like Jabba, whoever else is in charge. But then like Mos Eisley, you get away with anything. Like Mos Eisley, you can cut a guy's arm off in a cantina and like no one looks any different. So
right, start playing music again.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry, I interrupt you. You were making a point there. Before
I find it really interesting and really cool that they've been dancing around it this whole time, and then to start that episode off with him kicking it over kind of felt like now you're going to see what this is about, because they're bringing the drugs, you're seeing them, you've seen the train, you've seen him kick over a gigantic thing of it, and like now you're going to get to see Boba Fett and his people basically go up against a mob, because this episode felt like a mob story. You're starting to see all the Pikes coming in. Everyone's getting off the train. They're bulking up their numbers. They're doing it quietly. They're making hits. We'll get to that later. And they're doing all these things, and it's really feeling very, Goodfellas.
Yeah.
So
great movie, by the way. Yeah,
it's interesting.
So his character, what is it, Oliphant or whatever the guy's name is?
Timothy Oliphant.
Timothy, yeah.
I don't know what they're going to do with this character going forward, based on what I've seen in this episode.
He's got an extra hole in him, or at least a scar. So
yeah,
yeah, exactly. I'm like,
it seemed like for Star Wars a big thing to try to kill off a character like that, but I guess they didn't. He's not dead.
Right? We'll get to that part.
Yes.
Let's go ahead and jump to the next thing. Because the next thing...
I will say, he did say one line that I'm definitely going to use. It's like, you're going to want to think that through.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I know I've used variations of that, but I'm like, you know what? That works for me.
I'm gonna raise my hand, and someone's gonna feel the backside of my palm. Who's it gonna be?
Right.
No. But then you get to see the N1 in all of his glory flying into the planet where you get Mando trying to go find his little kid. And all the things that transpired from there were amazing. Every bit of it. When he lands, first thing you get R2-D2.
And his little beeps and bleeps, and you're like, oh, I've missed you so much.
As soon as I saw him, I'm like, oh my God, they're going to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can almost guarantee when you see R2.
Yeah. And so, they take them, you get, everyone's calling them the ant droids. The ant droids are building the temple.
I'm sorry, but that wigged me the hell out. If I walked across and saw some shit like that, I don't care. That's too many legs on one droid, robot, whatever the hell you want to call it.
But think about it.
Cool, but still.
It's not the future because it's a long, long time ago, but it's
in a galaxy far, far away. Yeah.
Yeah.
Still too many damn legs.
It was 6. I think
it's hard to scare people in Star Wars in this universe because you see a lot of shit. If you've gone from planet to planet, you've seen a lot of shit. I don't know.
Still,
so I've heard a lot of.
I would not like it yet.
I've heard a lot of people complain about the planet not looking like it did in the flashbacks of Force Awakens, and the temple itself really does, especially when they finished it. But I didn't hear this until today, and that was someone talking about, well, think about the flashback you get in Rise of Skywalker, because Rise of Skywalker is not in my brain. It's like the movie that, like, I remember bits and pieces of it, but like it's not permanently in there yet.
Mm-hmm.
And they were talking about the flashback scene with Leia and Luke, when you still got young Luke and young Leia, and they're going back and they're doing their training. Mm-hmm. So the planet felt more like that also. But when you compare the shots from Force Awakens to this show, the temple actually does look very close. It's the beginning. They haven't built the other stuff around it yet. So, but it was really cool seeing that being built.
It's like new stages. I mean, it doesn't have that weathered to it. It's brand new. It's brand spanking new.
It's so interesting that it looks so much like where he goes in The Last Jedi. Mm-hmm. When he goes to Octu, or however people are pronouncing it, when he goes there and the buildings that they have, the natives that live on that island are so close to the school that he built. And so I find that part very interesting.
Maybe it's a Jedi thing.
But then we get Luke.
Which looks great.
Yeah, he looks good. He looked really, really good.
Yeah. The de-aging looks
really good. I didn't think we were going to get a whole lot of this other than what we got at the end of Mandalorian last season. But now I'm firmly in the camp that they can tell any story that they want to.
Yeah.
Any story that they want to.
I agree. Because
I said it during our Star Wars orgy thing, and I was like, I don't think they're going to do it, like, ever. But I'm completely flipped. Like, I think they can do it all.
Yeah, because there was a lot more of him in this episode than I thought there was going to be. Like you, I thought it might have been just a little clip, a couple lines, this and that. He was in this episode a lot.
Yep.
It was like a
screen time.
Yeah.
Like a long, long time. But yeah, that really blew my mind. But once again, as soon as you saw R2, I knew it was coming. And I was like, awesome. And honestly, with the storylines going on, I knew if I saw Luke, I was going to see Grogu. So right off the bat,
so many things.
Yeah, right off the bat, like you said, from that point on, man, that's what 1, 2, 3, 4 characters right there they introduced. Bam, 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 bam.
And I'm going to tell you right now,
we've seen these characters before, but
I felt two different ways about this. When I saw Ahsoka, when she said the 2 lines that she said that, like, felt like they just hit me straight in the heart. Which one of them was like, I'm a friend of the family, and the other one was like, you're just like your dad, or
you're so like your father.
Yeah, I knew you were say that
line. Those 2 right there were punches that just to, like. But on the flip side of that, where is my Ahsoka and Luke meeting? I need to know when, how, and because at some point you got to sit down and be like, you were my dad's Padawan. I don't know you. I barely knew my dad. What I did know about him, he was pretty evil. How many blue milks are you going to drink over that?
Right.
I had the same thought process too. I was like, when did they meet? Because this is the craziest thing. It's
yes.
Well, to be fair, this is the kind of stories and stuff we've been asking for, like the webbing, the stuff in between, the years that we don't know about, and that we're finally getting it. I gotta wait a little while before I start asking for more. Before I start asking, because I want that meeting. You're right. You're absolutely right.
Maybe that'll be answered in Ahsoka series.
That would be awesome.
Which is quite possible.
That would, because we don't know when the timing is for Ahsoka series, do we? It could be before all of this.
Well, right now it could be anywhere. It could jump all over the place. Look what they did with Boba. So
that's true. Yeah.
I think that it's. I think that we could get it in any way possible. I just found it very, not off-putting, but it's like, the whole week outlets have been talking about how Star Wars is fixing its sequel problem by going back and like telling these stories. And I'm like, Star Wars should have done this from the beginning, but they didn't. They're not getting like a free pass, but at the same time, like, tell the stories, give the people what they want.
All right.
I'm right now, with what we've been getting in television over the past 2 years, am so much more of a television fan than I am a movie fan almost. I mean, they are able to do so much with these shows. And if they give us all of the stuff that we're talking about, the Mandalorian, Obi-Wan's going to be a little different, but Ahsoka, like, keep pushing all these things after. I don't know what we couldn't get at this point.
It's funny you say that about being a bigger TV fan than a movie fan, because I love going to the movies, right? And I can't remember what show I was watching the day, but whatever it was only like a 7 or 8 episode series, and I was watching it and I was like, man, this would be a really good movie. And then I thought about it and I was like, no, actually, it's better on TV. I'm getting 7 hours instead of 2.5, and I'm getting way more story.
Yes.
I was like, why am I thinking like that? That's my old mindset. I'd watch, man, it'd be cool to see this on big screen. Like,
but that's the thing about it. It's like the quality they're giving us now
is just
television.
as good as, and my television
is just as good as the movie quality. So I mean, here you are. You have 8 episodes versus. So I mean, that's let's say a little less than 8 hours, because I mean, in about what 45, not quite hour episodes. Because the recaps are like takes this much anyways,
and the credits,
yeah, exactly. So I mean, you might be getting 45 minutes. Let's say 30, 45 minutes. So I mean, that's and then breaking up in those increments like that, and it's just, I don't know. Sometimes I just take it better, and now we're so used to watching some of this stuff like in our living room. It's more easily accessible, and like I said, the quality is just as good. I mean, I don't know if I saw Ahsoka on the big screen, all that kind of stuff. That might have been too much for me. I was just like, whoa, hold on a second. That's just whoa. So I mean, it's kind of like best of both worlds, honestly.
Yeah,
it's perfect.
It really is. The advantage of being able to watch this kind of stuff at home, I didn't think, like, let's say more movies, like when they first come out, or give Eternals, for instance. I didn't think that I was going to enjoy it as much as I have, but I've adapted to being at home more, and it's going to take a lot for me to go to movies. Like, I definitely want to see the Batman in theaters. I think any major movies I'll go see, but beyond that, man, there's not a lot, unless my kids want to go see something, go see it. But
I'm going to sidebar you real fast. Perfect time to buy a TV if you're looking for a new TV. It's always perfect time right before the Super Bowl. Best deals on the planet.
Very true. Yeah.
You've been talking about it, so I'm going to throw that out there real fast.
Yeah, my TV's not smart anymore. It messes up all the time.
Or you just get something to make it smart. But speaking of making things smart, we got made smarter by Grogu and Luke giving him a Force Echo. And I was not expecting that temple scene. Wow.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
what do y'all take from this? Is what I wanted to ask y'all. Are we to take that he was already a student somewhere else?
He was a
And
student at the temple
during Order 66,
Yes.
and that's just been floating around since then. But he
Notice he
doesn't
had his little
remember.
egg, and he just kind of like
But he
that, and they
doesn't
just scoot him
remember.
out.
Yeah.
Well, it almost seems like it's kind of like a PTSD thing, like he shuts it out. Well,
Okay.
like it took Luke helping him remember to actually remember, because he had that one line that made a lot of sense, and it's like, I'm not really teaching him as much as I am, or as much as he is remembering.
Right.
Yeah, and so because he was in some sort of bassinet watching the whole thing, watching those Jedi get shot down, and so we know that he's roughly 50 years old at this point.
But he's still a
And
little
Luke,
itty bitty baby. I mean, he's
yeah,
still.
but he can jump now.
Mhm.
Well, if I had one of those
Hey,
remotes shooting at me, I'd probably jump it too.
It was really interesting watching that little training bit.
Because I mean, literally, it was like watching like a little, like a, I don't know, like a 2 or 3-year-old. I mean, honestly, that's kind of because it's like the motor skills that he has. Because we're so used to him just kind of sitting there, just like looking around. You know, the only thing he would really get after is like those frogs, which that was a very cute little addition as well. Especially looking at his face when all of those frogs were lifted up. He's just like, oh, I can do that. But I mean, just seeing his little self like just hopping around and just, I don't know, it was crazy. But the whole was like jump, and it's like, boop.
Yeah.
It's like, no, jump. And he's like, you're like, all right, he's about to do something crazy, and it's like, boop. I'm like, okay, it's like teaching a child.
Yeah, the whole thing about the jumping around is it's kind of reminds me of Yoda. Like when I look at
Very
it,
much.
it's not something I'd expect, and not something that I'd really, it was really kind of pulled me out of it for a moment, But I mean, I knew that he was going to. I knew that he could, put a little lightsaber in his hand, and I'm sure he's going to be just like Yoda. So it's I don't know what Yoda's species is, like, so I can't really know it. I guess he's what do they call him?
No one really knows.
What does the Mandalorian call him though? A
youngling or foundling?
Foundling.
Yeah, he's a foundling. So
yeah.
But the jumping around, yeah. Okay.
Well, my question is, and it's like Luke said, he's like, because he does allude on the fact that his lifespan is a lot longer than anybody else's.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, well, how far is he going to advance? Because I mean, he's still this little dude. And I mean, how far are his reflexes and what he's able to do? Seems like it would take, another 50, 75 years for him to get to.
Maybe.
Well, I think like the same thing that we knew about Yoda, right? Like, look, end of Attack of the Clones, watching Yoda go crazy, fantastic. I never knew I needed it as much as I did when I saw it. But Yoda wasn't known. I mean, he was known to be a great swordsman or whatever, but he was known for like his power, like in the Force. Like that little creature was like the mythical side of the Force is what he was powerful in. And I think that's what like the longevity of his lifespan really helps. Now, how long is it going to take him to get like physically up to snuff? Who knows? I mean, I think what they're doing, because the end really made me kind of angry, but also open up my mind a little bit. And I feel like what they're doing is they're giving us taking away the shock factor of him being able to walk and him being able to jump. Like, we're not going to be shocked or surprised because we're seeing it. We're seeing like he's remembering these things. And so it's an easier way of making that transition than it is just saying, oh, well, now he can walk. Right? I mean,
sure.
Just accept it. Go with it.
Shh. I mean, if we're talking about shows or stuff we want to see, we've seen now a baby, whatever Grogu is, and we've seen a really old one with Yoda. So we've seen both in the spectrum. Give me one that's like 250 years old and call it Grogu Prime, and let's see what whatever his species is in their prime looks like. I bet he's a bad mother, talking and everything. I want to hear Grogu talk. Are we ever going to hear him talk? Come on, man.
You're gonna have to at some point.
Yeah.
I think like I said, it's all kind of it's all traumatic for him. Whatever. I don't know what like the maturity level is. I mean, like I know the dude's 50, right? But
as 50, far as like whenever you mature, live to 100, that's kind of like I don't know. That would be at least an adolescent, I would think.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. Like, is he an adolescent at like 20, or is he an adolescent at like 100?
Good point.
How long does that lifespan last?
Yeah.
Either way, I found it very interesting. So mechanically necessary when Luke was walking with him for Luke to use the Force to keep boosting him forward. But then we got the training montage scene, and
awesome.
Once again, like I didn't know that I really wanted it, and like it didn't. I mean, I've heard a lot of people say really great things about it. To me, it wasn't probably as deep as it was to like some of those people, but it was a real interesting scene. I didn't understand him climbing up the bamboo. Like I understand you can use the Force to climb, but like when he made it to the very top and those things are like this wide, like the size of my pinky, I don't understand how you stay up there. That's just me.
It's the Force.
Star Wars.
It's the Force, dude. It's the Force.
I liked the little training montage, man. I thought it was pretty cool, even whenever he's doing that and he's talking to Grogu and he's even telling him how Yoda would speak, like
riddles.
Yeah. So I thought that was pretty cool. We'll see if when Grogu talks, if he actually talks in riddles.
Ahsoka and Mando.
Yeah,
that's your next thing. Which she does a really good job of tiptoeing around like no, you can't talk to him. You know, really trying to convince him that like it's his decision. It's so strange that he was right there because like, you know, you see the silhouettes and I swear to God, it looks like they fist bump Luke and Grogu up on the hill. But he's right there, you know, and Grogu has to watch him take off. And it's, you know, like the whole scene's pretty sad because he sticks his hand out like he knows he's there. I mean, like think about it. Like you go to see a kid you haven't seen in however long, and then like you're right there. Like you can see the kid, but you know there's a better idea not to go see the kid. I think it was really alluding to what we were going to get at the end. So,
yeah, I don't know where it's going to go at the end. Well, actually, I do know where it's going to go. I mean, it's the only way I can tell a story, but we'll talk about that when we get there with it. What next? What came after that? Ross, you seem like you know this one like a blueprint, man.
How many times have you seen it?
I only watched it twice. I watched it once in the car and then once on the TV. I had to sit like watch it as soon as it came out. I'm like, nope. I'm just gonna put headphones in. I'm gonna watch this. You drive.
Well, to me, it's very interesting, like with Ahsoka, because she kind of starting to wear, you know, she's talking in riddles as well too. You know, it's like with this, like a wizened Jedi. I mean, it's I don't know. I guess when I think of Ahsoka, even though I love seeing her older like this, but I'm still, you know, like the Clone Wars is stuck in my head, that Ahsoka. So it's
especially
really
like the last season, you know, you see her really try to be, I don't know what word I want to use here, but you see her know that she can use the Force and that she shouldn't just like shut out all of her Force training. But at the same time, she doesn't want to be full. Yeah, exactly. She doesn't want to be full on Jedi, but she knows that she can still do good. And so she's trying to figure out how she does it. That's how she becomes Fulcrum in Rebels. That's how, you know, finish Rebels, Greg, so I don't spoil it for you.
I don't care.
That's how we see what we see at the end of Rebels. Ahsoka the White, or Ahsoka, whatever they're calling her, you know, that was real big whenever the series finale came. You're getting that wise side because you need it. We need a different character, and we need the wise one that they've been building up to and giving us. So they're doing a really good job. Like you said, I mean, yeah, she's speaking riddle. I mean, clearly not.
It's like that wise, because it's like you see her growth. I mean, you see her from, you know, a wild, I don't say wild, but you know, like a Padawan worthy of Anakin. Let's put it that way. Yeah. I mean, she was a teenager, and now here she is. You know, she's, you know, older and wiser, and it's just really interesting just to see that. That's why I want this Ahsoka show so badly to
I do
see,
too.
to see that transition, because it's just, oh my gosh, it's amazing. It's just absolutely amazing. These are stories you didn't realize you really needed to know, but now you're like, give it.
I really
look. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I really hope with this Ahsoka show they do it similar to the way they did Boba Fett with flashbacks. Tell a present story and a lot of flashbacks, because there's a lot I want to know. But go ahead.
Because they have stuff to answer. Like, you haven't seen that in the Rebels, but they have things that need to be answered. Like Boba Fett need to be answered. How does he get out of the Sarlacc pit? They left things there that we need to know, because there was a mission that she was going on, and I want to know how she got to where she got. What transpired between in the Rebels to then.
Yeah, I don't know exactly how Rebels ends, but I've been told, and I know I have a good idea. Like, I mean, y'all both watched it, so it's like I know, like, Thrawn and Ezra get like Ezra sacrifices himself to take Thrawn out, and they both disappear, but they don't die, but we don't know what happens to them, type thing, right? At the end of it,
they use the pergolas, the magic hyperspace wells.
Okay.
Well,
so
it's just
really
like in
thing.
Well, season 2 of Mandalorian, we saw Ahsoka. What was the first thing she asked?
Yeah, where's Thrawn? Or
she name dropped, and you're like, oh.
And that's what I'm wondering is Thrawn going to be a big part of that show? Because I really hope it is. Like,
I do too.
I know Thrawn.
I need a live action Thrawn. I'm telling you, that's just going to. Oh my god.
Which we can talk about fan casting that later on, but I mean,
yes.
I found it very strange, because now we get to the point where you get the training remote. You see Luke whip out his lightsaber randomly as like Grogu's trying to stand on one of the bamboo stalks. I'm sitting there the whole time like, I appreciate this, but I don't understand it.
Show the fans a little lightsaber, Luke.
Yeah. But then Ahsoka just dips out. And it felt like there should be things that are said, like if you just show up at your friend's house and then like you look like you're going to the bathroom, but you walk out the front door and leave. I felt like that's what that was.
Yeah.
The title dipped out.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's a little different when you're going to your friend's planet instead of your friend's house. But I mean, you're right. It was kind of weird that it seems like that her and Luke are, obviously correspondents working together, with something. And she just dipped out. You're right.
They have such a close connection. I mean, look, I can't tell you how weird it would be, but if you got off on the right foot with your old master's son, and he was, like, especially someone who seemed like they needed guidance. Not that Luke needs guidance, but he needs all the weapons that he can get in order to regrow the Jedi. She didn't seem like she did a damn thing. It just felt so weird. She's like, bye.
Well, and then again, it's the same thing as, the way she feels about the Jedi Order. It's just like she's disconnected, but yet she's not.
Which I'm going to circle back to at the end again.
Well, she also said, told Mando that she would have trained Grogu, but Grogu chose Luke, right?
She said that she wouldn't, but Luke did, because that was his choice. So I think that's exactly just like Sarah was saying. Like, it's as much as she doesn't want to be a Jedi, she didn't want to train a Jedi, but Luke made that choice to do it. That's kind of the verbiage that she was using.
Okay, that makes
that was Luke's path, but not hers.
Yeah, makes more sense. And then we go to Tatooine.
Tales of Tatooine.
Tales of the Tatooine. Sounds like a perfect radio show. He pops up in there. He's like, Fennec said, come and see the place. I'm coming to see the place. Let me in. Chrysanthemum was there. Like, I could have used a little, like, how do we get from ripping an arm off to being in the palace and helping Boba Fett? I just 2 minutes, not even 2 minutes. I could use like a 30-second clip. Like, How does he get from place to place? But he's there, so that's good. He's building the posse. I find it very strange that they refer to the mods as the mods. Because it seems like a very weird thing when you're standing around a table and you're standing there, you and your whole clique. And Phoenix just like, and the mods did this. I'm like, the mods make up most of this room. You don't have to call them that.
Be like calling somebody the prosthetics.
I guess anything.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, we're all Panthers fans here. Like, the Panthers were here doing this. I'm like, yeah, we know there's 60 some of them over there.
Yeah.
They're standing right here. We know.
It's like super obvious.
Yeah. They need more help. Mando knows where to find help. Mando goes and takes a circle ride. Oh, sees that awesome sandcrawler with the dragon skull on it. Very weird. Felt like a
those little dudes that they will pick up anything and everything. That was probably girl probably set them out there to bullet one of them for.
They were no, that was the dragon they killed in Mandalorian. So those were the job was that they worked together with to kill that dragon at Mos Pelgo, where Cobb Vanth is. Now, what I don't understand is how they recognized Mandalorian in a brand new ship when you can't see the face. And the equation doesn't add up there, but whatever.
Now, were they the same ones that brought the ship to her? You know, brought the parts and everything to her?
They could have been, but I don't think so. I mean, I feel like you'd
maybe
recognize
one of them was her ex.
With a giant skull on it.
I don't know. Maybe one of them was her ex. I don't know.
True. Yeah, we don't know what her taste was in Jawas.
She knew what her taste was.
She did. I hope she did. Yeah.
Then we get the wonderful actor, the wonderful person who plays the brand new deputy in Mos Pelgo. And if there was anyone that needed to get shot, I don't remember what the guy's name is. In the episode of the first season of Mandalorian, he was the guy that was hiring Mando to help him get Fennec Shan to like.
I know you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah,
like one of the most hated.
That really brash guy. Yeah, he was like such a jerk face. Yeah.
This guy almost was worse for me watching it because when I saw him and he's just like, can't park here. I'm like, I would tell me no one more time. Yeah. Look at all the shine. Do you think I don't bling just for myself?
And that's kind of the way Mando was about it too. He's like, seriously, dude?
He's like, I heard you. And
they start talking. Yep. They start talking about needing help. Clearly, if Cobb Vanth knows more than the whole entire rest of the town does, which I mean, I guess he should. But that bartender was just like he made me think of the dude from what's Gunn's brother's name? And he plays in Guardians of the Galaxy. He's just like, Captain's got to teach stuff. He's like, we call it Freetown. We changed the name. But then next thing's perfect.
Man.
Next thing is I heard it. I knew it was going to happen. I didn't know how it was going to happen. But man, it happened in a grandiose way that I can't say enough good things about.
This one caught me totally by surprise. It was by far my favorite part of the episode. Don't worry, we're going to reveal it in just a second. Don't worry. I actually was going to ask a couple of weeks ago on the Star Wars-y, like, do we think we'd ever see this character live action? But before I asked it, I didn't want to sound really stupid. And I was like, did he die in an animated series that I don't know about yet? So I didn't want to ask that question. I was like, no, I don't want to sound stupid. But we got to see. I'm assuming you're talking about Cad Bane.
Well, and the thing about it, there is a connection of he and Fennec Shan too. So I'm curious to see how that's going to play out.
So by far for me, the most badass bounty hunter in Star Wars. I don't care what I think Cad Bane is a bad motherfucker, man. And like you, Ross, I didn't know anything about it. It was a total shock for me. So whenever you see him for a little while and you don't actually see his face. And the whole time I'm watching, I'm like, please don't mess up the face. 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 And they showed it. And for me, it worked. It worked. I enjoyed it. So good.
I wasn't taken aback extremely like all that much. the face reveal. The only thing that felt wrong was how long it took him to raise his head.
Uh-huh.
And then once he raises his head, I'm like, he said a nose joke, and his nose just wasn't like. I sent you guys that picture beforehand, and it was someone else making another, like a redo of him being darker blue, having a better nose, moving his mouth down just a hair. Look, I don't care. Like the same thing. Like everyone's been given a whole bunch of grief. Like, well, if you look at Luke Skywalker's mouth, like the words don't line up perfectly. I'm like, I don't give a damn.
It's good enough.
We're getting Luke Skywalker.
Well, it's just like Ahsoka, with her head tails, because I feel like they should be longer, but I understand why it is like it is.
Yeah. So when they did Cad Bane, I'm like, it looks it looks like they could have done a little bit better job. But at the same time, everyone constantly complains, like, we need more puppets. We need more practical effects. And the effect felt very practical.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't rob away from that.
Puppet is actually, it was a little puppety for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like it did, like you could definitely tell it was somebody like wearing prosthetics and stuff, but it's okay. I'm okay with that. Like it looked good. I got to see him live action, and I'm assuming I'm gonna get to see him a lot more. He never mentions his name in the whole scene. Mm-hmm. He gets asked his name twice, never says his name. So, yeah, for us, he doesn't need to exactly. But I just found that interesting that he never mentioned his name. So they'll never be able to describe who was there, other than look. Which is, I guess, he's got a pretty
so many things to say about that. No, so you got the same actor, voice actor.
Mm-hmm.
So from Clone Wars, Rebels, and Bad Batch.
Mm-hmm.
So same voice. People complain about like his voice shifting in like Bad Batch or something like that. Like it sounded different, which thought the voice actor is going to get older, so whatever. But seeing him. Watching the tension between him and Cobb Vanth, and then having the deputy in the corner, I am so happy that he shot Cobb Vanth once and then just went crazy on the deputy.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's what you get.
Yeah. It's like, shh, keep your mouth shut. Mind your business.
Did I miss something through the episode? Did we ever see Vance again? Do we know if he's? That's what I was kind of alluding to earlier. Do we know if he's dead?
I'm assuming that he's not dead. They got a med pack. I watch everything with captions on. So if you read like what everyone's saying as they're like off in the background saying it, they're like, get a med pack, and you see them like put gauze and stuff on him. They shot him in the shoulder, like just like right here.
Yeah,
it wasn't. Dude's not dying. I mean, he's skinny. He may die of like malnutrition, but he's not dying of a blaster shot.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I think Cad Bane probably realized that he got his point across, but instead of taking this guy out, you still need to have him there to kind of send the message or make sure the message was sent. But the other one, he was absolutely expendable. And plus, it was like, you mind your business. Shh, this is what happens.
And anyone that moves like that in the middle of a gunfight, I mean, doesn't need to carry a gun.
No.
But I find it very interesting because, like, I'm going to go back just a hair because this is the second episode where we had someone ask Mando where the little guy was. So Cobb Vanth, and then the last one was it Pele, the woman
mechanic.
that gave him the ship. Yeah. And so I find it interesting that we keep getting that, which once again will carry into the end of the episode.
Well, I think it's because none of them have ever seen him without Grogu, right? They met him with Grogu, and they've only seen him, known him to be with him, and every time he's with him, he's so protective of him. So it's odd to see him.
They're making like a little point, like we don't know what this species is. Like no one's ever seen this little thing before. Like it's very interesting. But especially for the simple fact that Mando did all that stuff in that town for that sand dragon thing with Grogu with him, and like he was just laying waste to a gigantic sand dragon, but it's taking care of this little baby all at the same time.
Yep.
So,
we talked about Grogu being there earlier, and him. Oh, actually, I guess I don't want to spoil the end. Are you gonna talk about the gift reveal at the end? Was that part of what you were?
I will. We get.
I'll wait.
The next scene is the Pikes showing up into the sanctuary bar.
Mm-hmm.
They bring in the bomb, which that's right. That's what I'm saying. Like this whole thing felt like a straight up like mob style. Like if they did all of this in like a real quick, like 1 minute montage, it would have been a mob movie.
Yeah.
What I do find interesting, and this is my first thought, but since we go a couple of days after the episode before we talk about it, I hear a lot more things. My first thought was they blew that place up. Is Max Rebo now dead because he survived the last time that he got blown up? It was. When they blew it up, I'm like, yeah, I knew they were carrying a bomb in there. And then you see her face, and you know they're gonna blow it up. But as soon as I see the flame, I'm like, is Max Rebo gonna die?
Oh, jeez.
So, but that's when we go back to the very end. We go back to Luke.
Mm-hmm. So I looked at this scene as a parent because we knew what he was going to get. I mean, we haven't seen what was in the little napkin that he wrapped it up in yet, but we all knew it was going to be some kind of chain link armor or whatever. I looked at it like a parent, and I was like, he's going to grow out of that in a year. Right? that was my first thought. I was like, he's going to grow out of that.
Technically, right? Will he? Because we don't know how fast he grows.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
But yes, I had the same thought too. I thought there ain't no way in hell he's going to be there for so long.
That you can add to it, like a watch, like links in a watch to make it bigger. I don't know.
Actually, Ed said what they do with chainmail is they just they normally like separate it front or back or like somewhere, and they just keep adding
to it.
Oh, there you go. So maybe that's.
So I figure you could probably get like a good 50-100 years out of it.
So we're at this scene, right? And this is like this is what it's all coming down to. This is right at the end. He's basically giving Grogu the choice of being a Jedi or being would he be a Mandalorian? He's a
foundling, yeah.
Yeah. So
that's exactly what the Mandalorian is. He was a foundling.
So you get the choice. Like, I got to ask y'all, the choice is laid out in front of you. You get Beskar armor and you get to be a Mandalorian, or you get to be a Jedi.
I feel like it's a trick question. I just feel like it's a trick question. I don't know if it's really a yes or a no type deal, because I don't know. It was kind of something what Luke was alluding to. It's just kind of a feeling I got. It's like almost like he's trying to figure out Grogu's like his path. I mean, Grogu's path might be both. It's like how could it not be both? Or it could, it's either one or the other, or it could be both. Like a combination of both. I don't know. I just have this gut instinct, like it's not either or.
Well, my only thing is I never understood this whole thing with the Jedi, because they always talk about it, how you can't have any kind of connection. But every Jedi you talk to has that. Like, I mean, look at Luke with his sister and with Han and Chewie and all them. They're his friends, and he has attachments to them. Like, I think that's kind of a gray area, and maybe that's what you're alluding to right there, Sarah. Is maybe he does walk that line, but it's always been kind of weird for me when the Jedi say that, and then I look at every Jedi, and I'm like, well, they
even Obi-Wan, he had what Duchess Satine,
yeah,
and he was always like, you got to be, I'm like, okay, dude, well. You seem like you still.
He kept her off the books. The temple didn't know about that.
But
no, there's a lot more that goes into it. But go ahead, finish.
No, well, I was just gonna say Yoda's lightsaber looked awesome. Good.
Yes.
Gage lost his mind over that one. He was like, "No!" Of course, I did too, because I was like, "It's in that box. It's in that box." Oh my!
How did he get it? Because I'll let you guys go back and figure that out. But there's a whole lot of. From what we know, Yoda didn't leave the Jedi Temple at the end of Return of the Sith or Revenge of the Sith with a lightsaber. So it's interesting.
That's true. I guess he did fall and it got knocked out of his hand, didn't it?
So
we can't say he never had it again. We just never saw him use it again.
Yes, you're right.
There's your loophole, I guess. There's your explanation. I'm sitting here trying to play that scene out in my head now. I don't know.
There is apparently in, I guess, somewhere in the new High Republic stuff, like there's a Jedi that ends up being able to commune, which I don't understand how this works, because once again I'm not on the High Republic stuff, but communes with like Luke, and basically says, there's a whole lot more out there than just Jedi, and the Jedi, you guys are perfectly barking up the right tree with how does that work. The problem is that this is essentially Luke's first Padawan.
Mm-hmm.
And Luke is kind of filling out how to be like a master to a Padawan.
Yeah.
Right. Because, I mean, essentially at this point, like, he is on his own. We don't know we're led to believe in The Last Jedi that he hasn't talked to Yoda since, way back.
Mm-hmm.
So if he hasn't communed with the Jedi that he knows, but we're finding out slowly that he's communed with like other people, I don't know where he's getting direction from. You hear Ahsoka say that she didn't want to train, and we're led to believe that she doesn't want to train because, like, she doesn't agree with everything they stand for. Mm-hmm. Greg, you're completely right. Luke had friends. Luke's filling this whole thing out. And I think that what we're getting is almost like maybe like his first time, like, feeling doubt because he doesn't know, like, if he can do it or if he should do it. And the whole thing is very, like, they could go so many different directions. But I think that giving the kid the choice was a very immature move on Luke's behalf. What's going to happen from here? I feel like even though, like, the kid's got the force power, I think what we're going to actually get is a little bit more than, like, Grogu's not going to be a Jedi.
Right.
I think Grogu's just going to be like a force wielding, going to go more towards the Mandalorian. And I stand by like what I said last week, which was it's almost like they're using the foundling scenario as it doesn't matter what your past is or what your hierarchy is or what your status or nobility is. You can turn around and like save a whole entire culture. And I feel like they're going to try to find a way for Din Djarin and Grogu to kind of usher the Mandalorians into like a new future. So
makes sense.
I hope that he takes the lightsaber or finds a way to get it.
Yeah, I hope if he doesn't choose Jedi, he at least gets it. I mean, that'd be pretty cool. So, but y'all never answered. So you get the choice. You can only be. Let's just say in this scenario, you can only be one. You're gonna be a Mandalorian. You're gonna be a Jedi.
The Jedi don't really have the same nobility. They don't live in a world where a lot of people remember what the Jedi were supposed to be. So, I mean, I don't know. Lightsabers are really cool.
Yeah, I'd probably take a lightsaber over some chainmail. I mean, I'm not gonna lie.
Well, okay, yeah. If it was just I was gonna go as chain link, then yeah, I'd be a little upset. But for me, I'd have to go Mandalorian, just because the suit's so much better. But I'd be more on like the Bo-Katan side, where I could take my helmet off and stuff like that.
Well, I think that's gonna come in. I feel like that's gonna come into play. I mean, obviously a big time. With especially with the armor, kind of making that black and white designation, and so it's
they set up a humongous
battle
to happen there.
Yes,
that'll be interesting. I don't know, but so Ross, what did you say? You said Jedi.
I could totally live the Mandalorian lifestyle. I could totally live the Jedi lifestyle. At that point in time, when you're on a planet and you've only seen two other people since, I would probably go Mandalorian just because that fool has shown Grogu all sorts of different worlds. He's gotten to eat frogs and eggs. I mean, he's gotten to sit there and sip chowder when he was fighting what's her face, who's not going to be on a Star Wars show again. But man, if those were the choices with the experience that we know that Grogu has, I would assume he's going to go Mandalorian.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, you can still use the Force if you're not Jedi, if you have the ability. So yeah, it would definitely be Mandalorian for me.
In all the wrong ways.
Well, yeah, the thing is that you put Sith up there. If it's Sith or Mandalorian, then I'm like, well, I don't know. Sith have a much cooler lifestyle than the Jedi do. Just saying. But that's it, right? That's the whole episode. Kind of walk through all the main details, the big parts.
What do you think is going to happen? Just generally. What do you think generally is going to happen on the last episode? No specifics.
We're going to have a huge fight with every character we've seen up to this point, one being on Boba Fett's side against the Pikes and Cad Bane and all of them.
Yeah, I want to see a showdown between or at least some kind of verbal showdown between Cad Bane and Boba Fett.
Yeah,
because that's gonna be some heavy shit right there.
Hearing Cad Bane talk about Boba Fett, like he didn't need to say what he said, but he said that he worked for the Empire and was a killer for the Empire, and like that felt like it's a direct stab at the dartboard that he was going to hit next episode. So
yeah, it's going to be interesting to see that.
And I'm curious to see Fennec Shan's reaction when she sees him as well too, because there's a little bit of history there.
It's all going to wrap up next week. You think we get a longer episode next week? The finale?
I don't think it's going to wrap up. I think it's going to carry on. I think it's going to be a cliffhanger for a couple weeks until next Mandalorian.
And then they're just going to continue the story.
I think they're going to find a way to prolong it. I think what they're going to do is they're just going to tell like tangent style stories. So Boba Fett may be a bigger fixture in the Mandalorian show, but we may just get like different tangential stories to where Boba Fett's doing this, Mando's doing this, and they're both working to try to come back and take over, or I don't know, take Tatooine, or whatever the case may be.
Right.
I hope it's a longer episode. Yeah, I want more.
I'd like to see like an hour and 15 minutes, so a little over an hour.
Like 2 episodes into one.
Give me a 2.5 hour episode for the last finale. I'm cool with that. I mean, there's so many characters in there. They could do it forever. We've been sitting here talking about this episode for 45 minutes. So, but yeah, the Boba Fett, the Book of Boba Fett, I liked it. I was impressed with it. Didn't like it as much as Mandalorian. The last 2 episodes, which have basically been all Mandalorian, I've really, really enjoyed where they're going with this. Really hope that we get some much more Boba Fett time in the Boba Fett finale, though. So I'm enjoying what I'm seeing, and originally I was kind of making a joke about it because I didn't think they were going to do it 2 episodes in a row. But I'm hoping the 3rd episode, the finale of Boba Fett, is
more Boba Fett exclusive.
At least something they've been building up to.
If you paid attention to what Favreau and Filoni have been doing, this is how they tell their stories. So we know the next episode, it's got to be a culmination. So I just don't know if it's going to end.
Yeah. Well, if it's got Filoni on, it's like when you walk into a restaurant and see the sanitation grade's 100. You're like, oh, I'm eating here. Filoni on it, I'm like, okay, cool. Give me a Filoni sandwich. I'm down. That's pretty good. I like a Filoni sandwich. Yeah, that's what we'll call this.
It's got Ahsoka all over it.
Wow, we could go. Okay.
Yeah, you should just keep going.
No.
Keep going, yeah.
No.
I was waiting for Sarah to come up with one. But
no, I'm gonna leave that one alone.
I was expecting the Cad Bane. You get a Cad Bane side pickle.
No.
It's a club sandwich. It's perfect. Join the club. Be a part of it.
Oh God, you guys.
Do we have anything else we want to say about? I keep wanting to call it Mandalorian Book of Boba Fett finale next week. We're gonna wrap it up, and then, like you said, I think that's probably right, Ross. I think that they will walk a lot of stuff into the Mandalorian, but they got to wrap some stuff up. There's got to be something out, dude. Some things, but I think the Tatooine story will be done. But there'll be more.
I really hope that they cliffhanger. I really hope that they lose. I want them to lose. I want them to have a reason.
Say it's just like Empire Strikes Back.
I don't care. Everyone's going to say something regardless. We can't get away. Like, you can't get anything Star Wars without people like, the fandom hating it. So I love all of this. I don't care what people say. I may just be a half glass full when it comes to like my fandom, but I love it all. So, not to mention the past 2 weeks, I've gotten to see a Mandalorian slash a dude in half and cut his head off with a darksaber. I didn't see the latter, but then I got to see Luke Skywalker, Ahsoka, Cad Bane, Grogu all over again. There's so much stuff that I've been able to see. I don't care what people say. They can have all their negative statements they want to. I got what I got. And fucking hell, I love it.
Yes, sir. Preach, man.
Well, Filoni and Favreau, I trust in. I will just say that much. 100%.
Put them on a coin.
100%.
I got a thing for guys with, F last names.
Yeah.
Because I do.
Imagine you would. All right. Well, if we got nothing else, man, like I said, next week finale. It'll be fun. Ross, you want to wrap up some Peacemaker with me real quick, and then we'll hop skip out of here? Cool.
Well, fellas, I'm going to go ahead and jump off and let you guys have your little Peacemaker fest.
I'm going to get you and Nathan to watch this. I'm telling you, I was just talking to Nathan about it before the show. He said the same thing. He was like, I hated the character in the movie. It makes me not want to watch the show at all. I said, dude.
Like I said,
such a good show.
I think eventually I will. It's just not on my top priority list. But
I've heard so many people talking about this. I mean, like, I think I hear more people talk about Peacemaker, maybe because they name drop it and it just feels weird, than I think I do about Boba Fett.
I agree. I said the same thing. I'm actually, up until what happened last episode in Boba Fett, I was more excited to see the next episode of Peacemaker than I was Boba Fett, to be truly honest. I mean, obviously last week, yeah. But it's that good. It really is.
Well, I'll leave you guys, your fellas, on your little love fest. And so I will catch y'all next week. So have a good week. And we'll have a lot of, I'm sure we'll be texting back and forth after Wednesday for all of our excitement and whatnot. So yeah, but if anybody wants to hit me up, I'm on the Twitter at Molly the Kitten. So just holler if you have anything to say and that kind of good stuff. So other than that, peace out, fellas. Have fun.
Have a good one.
Have a good one, sir.
Bye, guys.
All right. So Peacemaker, dude. Telling you, everybody that I've talked to that hasn't seen it, I've told them to watch it, and they've watched it and they've loved it. Everybody that I've talked to that's seen it has loved it. I looked it up earlier. It's got a 94 on Rotten Tomatoes. And generally, I don't trust Rotten Tomatoes negative scores because I've seen a lot of movies or anything with Rotten Tomatoes given a bad score to, and I've liked it. But I've never seen anything that's gotten a really good score on Rotten Tomatoes that I didn't like. I mean, they're pretty good with that. I told you
like a couple weeks ago that it has the highest DC rating. Out of everything that DC has.
Yeah. I mean, it's...
And
John Cena takes this character to a different... To just like a different... It's a different character. It's like I was trying... Like I said, I was talking to Nathan before the show because I just watched it right before we got on. I told him, I was like, man, it's a totally different character. And the point of this show is kind of his redemption for what a douchebag he was in the movie. It changes that. And he even says it, we're going full spoilers. He even says it in this episode. He finally says it. I don't want to kill people anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's where he's at right now. He doesn't want to kill people anymore. It's not a matter of a guy feeling bad or like he wants to change his life. And it's cool to see him go in that direction. And once again, there's a Justice League member name drop in this episode. 2 of them, as a matter of fact, Flash and Wonder Woman, which that classroom scene was awesome.
Yeah, I was going to say the opening of this, dude, him calling all those kids' names was fan-fucking-tastic.
Yeah.
2035 Rubik's Cube champion. Yeah. He was just punching them all, and I'm like, perfect.
I love how the kid saw through him, and he was like, "Cause I can see right through you," like because you're so fake, I can see right through you. I wonder. Dang it, I had something I was going to say about Peacemaker in that school. Oh no, when I was describing it to Nathan, because I love scenes like that. I was describing it to him as like The Boys and Deadpool.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
Like I think that's a good description of what Peacemaker is. It's The Boys meets Deadpool. With the comedy and the violence and action and in both of those, but not over the top type thing. And some things you see that when they are over the top, it's supposed to be. That's the joke they're going for, is the over the top comedy.
I can see. Actually, I'm very curious how much John Cena does of his own versus writing, because I know that John Cena can do like humor pretty well. I don't know how fast he is off the cuff, but I do know that he can do it pretty well. I just don't know how much of it's pre-written that he's going off of. That I would be interested to know.
You could always tell by the outtakes, if we could ever see the outtakes, what they have, because that'll always show you how many times they've done it and which ones they went with. And the thing about it too is, I watched wrestling with John Cena's time wrestling when he was there, man. Shoot, I met the guy, man. I got a picture with me of him in the army because they came. I did PT with him. Like I did push-ups with John Cena. Like, so
actually,
cool
yeah, I think I saw him also.
Yeah, so I
met
mean,
him,
really, but you got to remember, wrestlers are actors. Like that's part of their thing is they're doing that. Now I always tell people who say wrestling's fake. Yes, it's fake. It's planned. That they know what they're going to do, but they're still doing it.
Yeah, it's
yes,
still
there's
real
things
physically.
they do to mitigate the pain, but they're still throwing them through a table onto tacks that's on fire. They're still throwing them from 3 stories in the air onto a few pieces of plywood on a spring. Like it's still happening. So these guys are tough. But yeah, there's a ton of acting that's in it. It's basically a soap opera with action, is what wrestling is.
Or what we refer to as the current state of the world.
There you go.
Joke.
Yeah. I mean,
it's okay to laugh, people. Laugh.
It's only funny. It's only funny because it's true. But no. Let's think. What else would Peacemaker? So I didn't realize until this episode, maybe it got dropped before, that Abadiah is her name, I think, or Obadiah is Waller's daughter.
Oh yeah, no, they definitely dropped that multiple times.
Really, I must have just missed that. I knew she put her there for a reason, but I didn't know that was her daughter.
No, because she said at the end of one of their like FaceTime calls, she was like, I love you, something like blah 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 daughter, but she actually like drops it.
Oh, okay. I must have just missed that or forgot about it. Goldfish, So, but I thought it was pretty cool. This whole butterfly thing, I didn't know how I was going to feel about it at first, but now they've gone with the storyline. I could buy this. You got to see some awesome butterfly scenes in this episode with the swarm taking over the police force, which is pretty cool. Well, not pretty cool to take over the police force, but the scene was pretty cool. Here's my thing is the only thing I don't understand about this show is they're kind of running 2 different storylines, the father and then this butterfly thing. I don't see how they connect unless it's something else that I've missed. But the finale is next week, right?
It is.
Yeah, we've seen the White Dragon
was this season or episode 6 or 7?
This was episode 6, I think.
Oh, then there may be 2 more. No, there are 2 more because next week is the next. Yeah.
Is the penultimate. Okay.
Well, because I think that when we saw the preview clip for next week's episode, they really fleshed out a little bit more of the dad being the B villain, and I think the direction they're going in is because they're telling 2 stories. One of the stories is Peacemaker coming to terms with himself, and also being a hero.
Right.
So they're doing it on 2 different levels. You brought up earlier talking about him saying that he doesn't want to kill anymore. They did a fantastic job with that because you have what's the sidekick name?
Amelia. Oh, the sidekick's name?
Yeah,
Girl?
No, the dude.
Vigilante. Yeah.
Vigilante. So you have him when they're in that car. You see how pissed off Peacemaker gets. But he's talking about, you remember we just kill people and we killed someone on accident? We're like, oh, well, and then went back out and started doing it all over again. You see Peacemaker losing it. He's like, no, he's just going crazy, which once again, John Cena acting is fantastic. Yeah. I love what he's doing. I buy everything that he's doing. And that's the most important part of being an actor. I buy it all. When he is he's showing you he wants to be more than what he was, and what we're going to get next episode from the preview clip is how that is going to not settle well with like everything else he's done so far with his dad. What are we going to do with his past? They're going to bring it up and flesh it out. All right. I think that's going to be. Did you watch the preview clip for next week?
I haven't yet. No. Is it to come on after the credits or something?
At the end of the episode. Yeah, okay. HBO is real big on. So they show the outtake clip of the captain of the police force when he's sitting there. Did you see that part?
Yeah.
So when he's making he's making his faces at the end, and the dude's got such an expressive face. But those outtakes were really funny. But then after all that, they show the clip for next week. It looks interesting. You're going to see his dad's suit. This episode, we see his dad getting out of jail, coming up with, I'm assuming, a plan to kill his son. And what that's going to mean for Peacemaker going forward. We see him don the suit, and everyone praise him. All white power, hell, white dragon. I Look, I like, was it Robert Patrick? I like him as an actor. I've enjoyed almost all his whole entire body of work, and he plays this to a very good T.
Oh yeah,
I like his.
Don't like
his
the guy
hairstyles, all sorts of crazy. His everything that his racism is like on point because it's not like super, 1960s, 1970s racism. It's very current. Like you can tell that he's tiptoeing just enough to be racist without like being, I don't know, I guess like the things that he's saying being a hate crime. I think that's a perfect way to put it. Like you couldn't say that he's doing a hate crime simply by his words because he's not saying anything that's super, rated X or whatever.
He's that guy you want to punch in the face at the bar.
Oh yeah.
And that's what you want in a villain. The best kind of villain are the ones that you hate. Like if you hate them, they did a good job.
Him and the FBI. Is she FBI?
The one who got taken over by the butterfly?
Yeah.
No, they were just the police.
All right. Well, there's definitely like special investigator or something, but because they weren't a part of that precinct, I think they came in to like assist with whatever.
Oh, okay. Maybe they were then. I'm not sure. Yeah.
But they're back and forth, and then her partner just chiming in. Dude, that partner is like the deputy from Mandalorian.
Yeah.
You want to be like, shut up, stupid.
She says that to him a couple times.
Talking. Yes.
I can't remember what he says. He comes back with, wouldn't want to be
Wouldn't want to be ya. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, why did you even have to say that?
I know I shouldn't open my mouth.
Now look, I don't like the character of his father, and minus the hat that he wears, he's got a badass suit.
Oh yeah.
I would go with white because just fighting, just not good to go white. But you take the hat away, give him some kind of different helmet, like a badass helmet. That's a badass suit. You know?
Like I'm not a big fan of Peacemaker's helmet, but at the same time, like, yeah, I get used to it. But man, the white dragon helmet, no,
like I can't. Yeah, I mean, it's
just been wearing a KKK mask.
Yeah. You want to look at that, and it's made to be associated with the KKK. You don't want to like it. And I don't like it. It looks horrible, but it's supposed to be like that. And then, this Peacemaker, I loved how when he was in the classroom and the kids are shooting the questions off at him, and she asked him about the origin story. The whole thing's kind of a comedy skit until that point. Yeah. Do you have an origin story? And I that's what we're getting next week, I'm assuming, from what you're kind of saying, which sounds really cool because I want to know about that beginning part. Like, how did this happen with his father? Like, we know now that he killed his brother, obviously fighting, which I'm sure was something his father was making him do.
Something happened.
Yeah. We've seen him stab that one guy in the stomach and kill that one guy. So he was taught from a very young age. He was killing people. It's going to be interesting. I'm wondering if his father's going to die. Wouldn't be too upset if he did.
I don't. Yeah, I don't know.
Redemption. That's what I mean.
I don't think you get a redemption as much as you would like a. They're going to put him like on a black site somewhere. I feel like it could kind of be like a. You need to come back and talk to him like in season 3 or something like that. I don't know how many seasons they're going to do with this. I'm assuming they're probably going to give him another one because it's doing so well.
Yeah, they would have to.
It also depends on like what they agreed to with Gunn. So,
well, my question is, do you bring John Cena into more movies now? Like more, is he a big part of the DC universe now, or is something going to get reset with the Flash movie?
So. I'm not very good at answering these questions because I never know what the state of the DCEU is or DCU or whatever they want to call it. I never know what the state of it is. I would like for them to do something, even if none of these people saw each other. The simple fact that he makes fun of all of the other Justice League members is enough for me. I don't need a whole lot. Recognize that it exists and move on. I'm cool with having same thing we talked about with Marvel, Daredevil, all that. I'm cool with having street level characters. There's nothing wrong with that. Especially when you tell a story like this, because it's such a 3-dimensional story. Mm-hmm. You don't have to have. He's fighting aliens.
Right.
I mean, like aliens that, could be on any hero's radar. he's doing it with a hodgepodge crew, which, we learned that, what is the head guy's name of their little unit?
I can't remember what his name is.
Mern?
Yeah, that's right, Mern. Yeah.
That he's actually a butterfly, and that we learned that all these things that, he has gone through. We learned that butterflies have vaginas, apparently. All of the different things. And that Peter had the head terrorist in a jar. He had the head one who was
didn't even realize it. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Vigilante screws that up. I want to tape it to my body because that's gonna make sense. To turn around and now have the whole entire crew show up. I mean, it felt very like Mars Attacks.
I was getting that vibe.
With all the little ships coming in, but at the same time, like, it's got to be over the top. They took a chainsaw to a bear in this show. It's got to be over the top.
Yeah. They did take a chainsaw.
And there's nothing better than it being over the top, because hearing them talk about it, hearing John Cena talk about it alone. Ooh. So, I don't know. I'm interested to see where it's going. I know next week is going to be. I know enough about the episode that it's going to be them trying to get to the butterflies, and the dad's going to stick a fork in the plan. So I know that that's what's going to happen. I don't know how it's going to happen. I know that I'm going to be entertained because there hasn't been a season of this or an episode of this that I have not liked. I have liked every single episode. Mm-hmm. Something about it. They're now becoming family. He finds out Harcourt's first name, Amelia, I think is what she said. Mm-hmm. We're getting... oh my Lord! What'd you say the other girl's name was?
Obadiah, I think.
Obadiah.
Yeah.
We're getting her to come to like her breakdown point to where she realizes that she really screwed up with that diary, and her mom telling her to transplant the diary in there, like it's causing a whole thing now. She's basically going to kind of get like blacklisted by her crew. She says that she's done. She can't be done. You definitely see Peacemaker feel like he's betrayed.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that means a lot for him, because he's very not only like emotionally stunted, man is stunted. The whole scene to where it's like
he's a flight risk for sure.
Where he's talking about something about getting a D, or he says D and everyone's like an F. Like, oh no, if you score 50 on a test, what do you get? And everyone says F, and he says D, and he's like, okay, look, I wasn't that good in school.
Right.
You realize just how completely stunted it is across the board. But it's really good. The show is really good.
Yeah. Like I said, I've been recommending it to everybody. Everybody that I talked to had the same issue with John Cena. Well, not everybody. There were some people that I talked to that really enjoyed the character in the movie, and that's great. But you were either one of two camps. You either hated it or you loved it. And I like John Cena as an actor. Well, actually, before the Suicide Squad movie, I didn't really like John Cena as an actor that much because I had seen a lot with him in it. But this show has changed it for me, and that's what I keep trying to tell people. Like, even if you didn't like him in the movie, they've done a really, really good job making him a very likable character in this show.
I hated him.
His acting is, I'll give it to you, it's better. Same thing I had to say about Batista whenever he was in Army of the Dead. Like, I didn't think he was a good actor. I saw him in that movie. I was like, okay, he did well in that movie. Still wasn't a fantastic job, but I enjoyed the movie and I thought he did a good job. So Cena gets my approval.
I'm not a big fan of. Look, all around, I'm not a humongous fan of that Suicide Squad movie. It told a story. It was simple. But that's another reason why I can say what I said earlier, which is why I really think that I am truly enjoying television a whole lot more than I am movies. Movies have to rush to tell a story, and television gives you so much more.
Yeah.
John Cena in Suicide Squad was not a character that I cared for. We got to see his jokes with him and Idris Elba. The back and forth with the shooting scene was kind of good. But I stand by it. Like when he killed Rick Flag, I was like, nope, done.
Yeah.
Don't need this. Mm-hmm. But when you attach a name, like James Gunn to a show, John Cena heading it up, and the simple fact alone that I already pay for HBO, why am I not going to watch it?
Yeah.
When I watched the first episode, I'm like, okay, I don't hate it. And then I was like, no, I kind of like it. And then you just keep watching them. You're like, fuck, I love the show.
Yeah.
It's so good. It's so deep of a story when you really break it down.
Well, when I catch myself like kind of looking at the TV and smiling when I'm watching a show, like I catch myself doing that, I'm like, okay, I'm really enjoying this. And that's the way it was when I was watching this episode before. And I think I sent you a message. I was like, yo, this show is getting really good. Like I'm really, really enjoying it. I think that's why I started trying to talk Nathan into watching it, was because I was like, I'm telling you, man, you're gonna like it. I hope
I'll rewatch this show.
Yeah, I would too. I hope they get a season 2. And I hope
have more time to watch it.
Yeah. I hope that we get John Cena as Peacemaker in movies that are other than Suicide Squad. Like, that'd be cool to see him. And he doesn't have to be, like I said, he can stay street level. That'd be cool, but it'd be cool just to see him, maybe be a part of, you could be a street level hero and still be, in a superhero movie. So I don't know. We'll see. But I'm recommending this to everybody. If you haven't seen Peacemaker yet, sorry, we just spoiled the pre-penultimate episode for you. We haven't really gone into a lot of detail about a lot of episodes so far. We talked about how he liked it and little things here and there, but ready to talk about it now. So that's it, man. Was there anything else about Peacemaker you wanted to bring up or talk about? We covered a lot of where they're at right now.
No, I want to know. I want to know the story that they're telling us. I want to know where they're going to end up at. I'm interested to see on how they're going to leave it, because I always find it interesting that we don't know if we're going to get another season or not, because they always wait to the nth hour before they make that decision.
All right.
But they have a full season already filmed. So I am curious on how it's going to end.
Right.
Beyond that,
Wait,
I don't know.
When you said they have a full season already filmed, they have another season already filmed?
No. The first season.
You mean this first season? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, you're right. But we've seen stranger things happen where really good shows get canceled for we have no idea.
No
why.
reason.
So, can always happen. But I'm excited. I think it'll have a season 2. I'm excited for it. It'd be cool. You can introduce new characters with this show too, and I think that'd be a better way to introduce characters is to the show for the DC, at least where they're at right now. But sorry, I had a comment here earlier. Since Boba Fett and Mando had decent TV writing, since Alias, Lost, and Firefly. Hi, Richard May, man. I work with him. Rick, what's up, buddy? Sorry, I missed your chat there. Hope you're still in there. But yeah, dude, I'm done. I got nothing else. Sorry, I'm walking away from the mic. I'm done. Got nothing else. You ready to get out of here?
Yeah, I want next Friday to come because I want to talk so bad about. I mean,
finale of Mando. Yeah,
not only
Mando.
Finale of Boba, but I also want to talk about what's going to happen in Peacemaker. I mean, these two shows back to back. I say it all the time. What television has given us is fantastic, and there's no signs of it letting up. And we are going to just be going, full on content.
Mm-hmm.
I'm ready for
Golden age of viewing, man. Golden age of viewing right now. So, but yeah, you're right. We're like I said, we always talked to you about it at the end of last year. I was worried about content, but I don't think I have to worry about that, man. There's always something coming up we're gonna watch. So just remember, we'll be here to talk about it. Let's go ahead and get out of here. You can find me at the BatDaddy52 on Twitter. Check out at SCS Podcast 1's the show handle. We're here live every Friday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, unless there's a movie or something coming out, or we have a family event going on. Sometimes we bump it, sometimes we skip it, but we're here most every Friday nights. Check us out. Audio drops on Monday mornings or Tuesdays, depending on how lazy I'm being. And on any podcatcher of your choice, give us a like, give us a review, share with a friend. Contact me and give us something to talk about on the show if you like recommendations. Other than that, man, I appreciate everybody who listens to the show. And until next week, keep out.
Later.